Next item on the agenda is questions and answers at the board meeting.
Whereas state statutes give the members of the association the right to speak and ask questions on each item on the agenda at Board of Director meetings, and whereas the association has a policy on the process of how members of the association can speak and ask questions at Board of Director meetings, and whereas the existing policy is the following. 1, a director makes a motion, and if there is a second, the director that made the motion explains it. 2, then there is a discussion among all the directors. 3, when the directors have completed their discussion, the chairman opens it to the floor. 4, each member has the right to speak on each item on the agenda and to ask questions. The questions will not be answered at the time they are asked. 5, after all the members who want to speak have spoken, the chairman will take the discussion back to the board for a second round of discussions among the directors. At this time, the questions the members have previously asked can be answered by any director if any director chooses to do so. The answer will be the individual director's opinion on the issue, and whereas many members believe that most of the time their questions go unanswered, they believe that the existing policy does not give the members the opportunity to adequately communicate their point of view, and because they do not get their questions answered, they are not able to get a good understanding of the issues being discussed. Therefore, be it resolved that the association approve the following new policy. 1, a director makes a motion, and if there is a second, the director that makes the motion explains it. 2, then there is a discussion among the directors, officers that are not directors, and the manager may participate if the chairman deems it may help. When the directors have completed their discussion, chairman opens it to the floor. 4, when a member is recognized to speak and the member asks a question, the question will be answered at the time it is asked. Any director, officer, or manager may answer the question if they choose to do so. The answer they give will be the individual director's opinion on the issue. 5, when all members who want to speak have spoken, the chairman will take it back to the board for a second round of discussions among the directors and the vote. And be it further resolved that the new policy also applies to any amendments to a motion, and be it further resolved that the existing policy and any and all other previous policies on the process are hereby repealed and are superseded by the new policy. And also, be it further resolved that the chairman may increase the speaking time of any individual item from 3 minutes to 4 minutes if he believes additional time is needed on a specific item. And also, be it further resolved that the new policy be identified as ID 08082017.1 and becomes effective immediately.
Do I have a second? And Mr. Fisher seconded. Let's open up for discussion from the board.
Okay, well, on its face, it doesn't solve any issues. And as you can see, if you look at my paper in the orange, there are just so many flaws in it and untruths that also matter. First, nowhere in the statute does it give any unit owner the right to ask a question. You can find that statute, I'll be happy to look at it. It says they may speak. Never says they have a right to ask a question. You can't force a board member to answer anything. So all this changes is when a board member answers a question, whether it's while it's their time or when it's back to the board. So the answers themselves, in theory, are the same. Secondly, the reason the attorney did it the way he did, which is the way most people do it, because then we fight over time. The unit owner, it's supposed to be their time. They make their statement, they ask a question, now they have 3 minutes or so, which it never mentions up here. It just mentions you can increase it, but it never actually gives them a time. So we're assuming what you meant is they have 3 minutes like it is now. So now they ask a question, now it takes 2.5 minutes for the board member and people to answer their question. Now they have very little time to actually make their piece, make their point, make their persuasion to the board. So all board members have to do when it's unit owner time is keep talking a lot till their time expires. And then that gets rid of the unit owner, which is why you also, if you look at congressional hearings, they constantly tell them, can you keep your answers short, because they only have 5 minutes. That is why when the attorney did it, it's the unit owner's time, they get 3 minutes, they get to say their piece on the question. They can wish the board votes yes, they can wish the board votes no, and they can explain their reasons to help persuade the board. Nowhere, it says right, a director that made the motion explains it. You can't force them to explain it.
You made it.
They may, but you can't force them to explain it. It says right here, oh, there's just so many things here. They go unanswered. No one's unbelieved, they go unanswered. Again, that's not going to change here. Motion, you can't make them. With the consent of the board is when you ask additional people to speak. And again, it's not even the director's opinion. The director speaks for himself. The director can be quoting fact. One of the questions that one of the members had is when was this passed? If a director says it was June 27th, that's not an opinion. That's a fact. This isn't about them expressing their opinion. But no director can speak for the association. They can speak on why they might want this passed. They can't speak why the association wants it passed until it's done. This just is flawed from top to bottom and solves nothing. And if you Google, you will find time and time again attorneys for associations doing it more like our attorney did some 20 years ago. Explaining again, it's a board meeting, it's not a unit owner meeting, the board has things to do, they're here to listen, and then they express their opinion. The board member wishes to answer their questions, which they do from time to time, and other times they just don't have the information. You can't force them. So I would say everyone should vote this down because it accomplishes nothing and just makes the meetings go longer and longer and actually takes away from the time the unit owner has in order to make his point.
You just took 3 minutes of their time doing nothing. Thank you.
I'd like to follow up on that. What we've suggested here is trying to be respectful to people's questions, okay, and answer them when we're able. And we do state in there, we may be able to answer the question at the time. It's not assuming we all know the answer at the time, but we will tell you if we don't know the answer.
Actually, it says the question will be answered at the time it is asked. It doesn't say maybe or if they wish. It says will be.
I believe that we're being respectful to the people that we represent by allowing them to ask their questions and answer them if we're able.
Right.
Again, that may be your point, but that's not what this says.
Did the lawyer write that
Any
up
other
or
discussion from the
want
board?
me to? Yes, the lawyer.
Yes.
Okay, let's open it up to the homeowners. Yes, Ryan.
We know Ryan's gonna get there.
I think it's an excellent recommendation, and I'm very much in favor of it. I do not know that there is any place in Robert's rules that says that when somebody in the audience asks a question, that the question is not answered. I think they do that in city commissioners' meetings. They answer the people's questions when they ask them. They don't wait until the end to do it. And the problem is that our pseudo attorney did not write up that portion, so I guess that's the reason why it isn't right. And all of those points that he has made are so piddling and picky-unish that there is no reason for it. The fact that he didn't write it is the problem, I would assume. And I think it recognizes, as you say, it is recognizing the people and it's doing the right thing. We used to do that, but the last boards were the ones that ran this place and changed everything around so that the unit owners had very little to say. And they really don't know anything about a motion when it comes before the floor until it comes there, and they don't know anything about it. You put fences up all over the place and never asked any of the homeowners how they felt about fences. But so the ARC does things like this that bring motions to the floor without the audience knowing anything about it. And they have every right to ask questions and every right to get answers and not have to wait until the end of the meeting. And it would not be any longer than what his dissertations are in the meetings.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay, the secretary brought up the matter of respect. I don't think the board is getting the respect that they should get. Number one, they put in many, many hours on these different things that we're talking about. My wife, Dottie, right, can't tell you how many hours she spent on this, getting a management company or a manager. I mean, lots and lots of hours. This doesn't happen in 3 minutes. So I think a little more respect to the board. If you ask a question, that's fine. If they want to answer it, that's fine. We'll keep doing the things where we're doing it. There's nothing better. Thank you. Raise your hand.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Because we are a condominium and we do work under condominium law, the Florida statute is 718.112, paragraph 5, so everyone can look it up and know what she is referencing. Within that paragraph, it does state that the homeowner has a time to speak. Doesn't matter if it's a question or just a statement. It also states in there throughout that chapter that if it starts with the board, first and second, they have a right to speak, then the homeowners have a right to speak, just like a right to speak. Then it goes back to the board. Just as a minute ago, when you all did the first and the second, there was conversation on the board. It did not go to the unit owners to allow them to speak and say anything, and then the motion was changed and it killed it. It should have had the homeowners a right to speak first before it killed that. And as far as a time limit on it, Florida statute does not put a time limit. The board of directors may put a time limit on how long someone speaks. And also, the talk about a lawyer had drafted this and so on and so forth, that is a lawyer's opinion, and that's exactly what it is. It is his opinion. You ask 100 lawyers, you could get 100 different opinions.
Thank you.
And it
Anybody
was
else?
done 20 years ago.
I have a
It's
question.
time to move up.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is that there's 25 possible companies that want to take over. Was I correct in that?
Speak up, I can't hear you.
I should have stood up. There's 25 possible companies that are looking to take over.
That's not the subject we're discussing right now,
No,
ma'am.
but it's a question that I have.
Mayor.
So does it matter?
Yes, you can only discuss something that's on the same point that we're talking about now.
But that was fluffed over.
We haven't got
It
there
was
yet.
gone. No questions able to ask.
That was a committee report. There's no,
Okay, then my bad.
So I go before me, chapter 718. Here it is. Meetings of the Board of Administration, at which a quorum of the members shall be present, is open to all unit owners. Any unit owner may tape record or videotape a meeting of the Board of Administration. The right to attend such meeting includes the right to speak at such meetings with reference to all designated agenda items. Nowhere in here does it mention it goes to the board, then the people, then the board. Association may adopt written reasonable rules governing the frequency, duration, and manner of unit owner statements.
And that's what she's trying to do.
Like I said, this thing says, it says they can ask questions, it never says that. We put together, over 20 years ago, the association attorney at the time,
Not 20
looking to
years
see
ago.
what
You
went
ain't
on.
done it that
Not
long.
20 years ago.
20 years ago, actually I think Caldwell was on board back then.
No.
They put this together to make the meetings run smoother. And it's not that I object to unit owner, when they're done, if they want to put the questions there, it's the way this is written. It isn't accurate, it isn't true, and it actually takes time from the unit owner. If that's what you want, this doesn't say what you want.
It does.
This is not correct.
That's your opinion.
Your opinion.
Again, anyone who can read and speak will understand.
Thank you, Peter.
Whose motion was it? You wrote that motion? You wrote that motion?
No, I did not.
Who wrote that motion?
Does it make a difference who wrote it?
It probably was somebody's
That's
recommendation.
answering his question.
Yeah. Vince wrote it. Any other questions from the audience? I'll bring it back to the board for discussion. Any other comments from the board? All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? And as I can tell, let's have a roll call vote. Peter? Jocelyn? Dottie? Ron? There? Ron Pisacott?
Yes.
Sam Fisher? Carolyn? Mr. Rogers?
Why not?
I vote yes.
Because they're all rascals.
Motion's carried. Next item on the agenda